And I'm Tyler Thomason. It's great to have you with us for Local 2 News at 10. Meanwhile, a Goldsmith neighborhood watch group gets a visit from the new sheriff of Ector County.
That's where we start tonight. I'm Tyler Thomason, in for Horace Brown. Odessa native Bonner Bolton cuts a rug on national television, making the most of his debut. All right, Jessica, thanks for that. Turning back to that developing story tonight, Midland ISD board members voting tonight to shut down Crockett Elementary. Smoke still skating across the sky more than 24 hours after the initial spark. Local 2's Ryan Martin joining me now live in the studio. Ryan was out there yesterday, shot that video for us, but tonight, Ryan, you spoke with a local doctor about whether there should be health concerns following that scene right there. Turning to an update tonight on that massive tire fire still burning in West Odessa. The Environmental Protection Agency now on the scene tonight. Here's a bird's eye view of where that is. It's great to have you with us for Local 2 News at 10. And we start tonight on the west side of the basin. Winkler County voters set to decide whether creating a hospital district is something they want to do. Ryan is live from the control room tonight to break down a tax that would be involved here. An update tonight out of Ector County ISD. District officials confirm Odessa High Assistant Principal Mark Krissinger now back to work. He returned to work this week, but is not working full-time just yet. It comes a couple weeks after he was tackled to the ground by a student while trying to break up a fight, getting the royal treatment. Local 2's Don Logg leading us off in the studio with this story tonight. And Don, I know we're talking about a special king and a special queen this evening.
Live from the campus of Sul Ross State University in Alpine, we're Basin Trusted, Basin Proud. This is a special edition of Local 2 News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Horace Brown.
Good evening, I'm Rebecca Jeffrey, live from Sul Ross State University here in Alpine. Thank you so much for that. But before we get to the president of the university who's with us.
Part of a lot of our students, our faculty, staff, even members of the community to do something special at the right time, though. Well, they would not normally see that. To see that on display.
Tonight, the memorial service for Zuzu Verk will be happening at 6:30.
Such a great student, as the president of the university talked about earlier.
And that's how we begin tonight. Thanks for joining us and welcome into a special edition of Local 2 News at 10. I'm Tyler Thomason. At the very end of the service, that's when Dr. Kibler did officially make that announcement that the amphitheater right behind us here is now named in Zuzu Verk's memory and will be permanently here on campus. Everyone who left the service tonight probably knew Zuzu a little bit better than they did when they came and heard such great stories. Music was played, memories were shared. We're going to send it back over to our own Horace Brown and Don Logg, and they are standing by in our studios in Odessa.
We're also learning that you have spoken to the women that this happened to.
Don, that's right. This internal investigation comes after documents state Officer Leroy Alex Granado arrested a man for domestic violence and then repeatedly contacted that man's wife looking for a date. Well, that woman contacted us after we broke the story yesterday and said that our story was the first she had heard about any disciplinary action taken against this officer. And tonight we take a deeper look at what exactly happened. December 12th, 2016, 2 weeks before Christmas, a disturbance call in Midland takes a bizarre turn. Reports show police officer Leroy Alex Granado arrested a man for domestic violence, then spent the next 3 hours making inappropriate advances toward the man's wife. The internal report obtained by Fox 24 states Granado investigated the call around 7:30 that night at the Stonegate Mobile Home Park on the northeast side of town. 9 p.m., Granado calls the woman to ask about guns that were collected during that arrest. The woman inquires about her husband. Granado suggests coming over to answer that question in person. She reluctantly agrees. 30 minutes later, Granado is on the woman's doorstep asking for her Snapchat account and an opportunity to call or text her. The woman turns him down. Granado leaves. 10:50 p.m., Granado calls the woman a second time. He tells her that he really wanted to hug her during his previous visit, but feared it would have led to a kiss. He wants to meet up and offers to come over after his shift ends at 7 a.m. The woman pretends to jot down his number and gets off the phone.
First of all, it's very disturbing.
Midland Councilman John B. Love represents the district where this all happened.
Fortunately, you guys are running this story, so this is an opportunity to let the public know that this is not acceptable behavior from police officers.
The Midland Police Department employs more than 100 officers. Councilman Love shared his reaction with me after we told him about Granado's on-duty actions.
This is not indicative of police. This is indicative of human behavior. When incidents like this happen, I think we all should be concerned about it, but I think it's an opportunity to also learn, educate, and prevent it from happening again.
Documents state that the woman involved filed a complaint against Officer Granado.
You know, for them to reach out to law enforcement and then not feel protected by them it's a pretty scary feeling.
Lisa Balderas is the Women's Service Director at the Genesis Center in Midland. The nonprofit serves as a resource for victims of domestic violence. The center works with nearly 200 women per year and offers a year-long program.
They're scared and they want to feel protected. But whenever, you know, a situation like that, I mean, that really will make them retract and say, well, maybe I shouldn't speak up next time.
Midland Police Chief Price Robinson declined our request for an interview regarding Granado's case, but provided a statement, which reads in part, "We continue to hold our officers to a level of professionalism that the public expects of us, and they are held accountable for their actions. Our responsibility as a police department is to follow up on citizen complaints and take appropriate disciplinary action when necessary." Records show Leroy Alex Granado received a 2-day suspension. He resigned March 28th of this year, 4 days after we requested information about his case. And again, that woman did tell me that she asked the police chief why she did not learn anything about any disciplinary action until our story came out yesterday. And again, to recap the timeline, this happened in December. We asked for information about it on March 24th, and this officer did resign on March 28th. Reporting live in downtown Midland tonight, Tyler Thomason, Fox 24 News, first at 9.
All right, Tyler, thank you.
And he's picking fights and he's drunk.
A Midland cop in handcuffs.
His arrest was never made public by your department.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the Local 2 exclusive that has been making headlines all week. Midland police officer finds himself on the wrong side of the law.
And Midland PD fails to notify the public until we obtained video of his arrest 4 months later. Local 2's Tyler Thomason leads us off with this special assignment tonight. Tyler.
For us, Rebecca, thanks. It's the story of police misconduct that went unreported. An internal investigation and body camera footage paints a picture where the color blue could not be more out of place. A cop so drunk he can barely stand, armed with a gun, wearing his badge, reportedly trying to start a fight. Tonight, for the first time, you'll see his arrest unfold. You'll hear the police chief take blame for not telling anyone about it, and you'll see what happens when we show up at the now former officer's doorstep.
He's very intoxicated. He's around here somewhere.
It's 2 a.m. on a Saturday night in downtown Denton. A sea of people floods Fry Street as nearby bars shut down.
Hey, how are you?
Many in the college town crowd are on the hunt for Uber drivers. Denton police are on the hunt for this man, Midland police officer Nathan Garcia.
He's got a green polo shirt on. Several people come up and said he's trying to pick fights.
At this point, Denton officers are unaware that they're hunting for a brother in blue. All they know is a man is drunk, covered in urine, reportedly bullying other bar patrons.
Probably.
A Denton officer's body camera spots Garcia slumped over, unable to stand on his own. The chaotic scene escalates when Denton officers realize Garcia has a gun.
Hey, back foot, back hip. Check his back hip.
Denton police officers force Garcia to the ground. People nearby take notice, surrounding the officer-on-officer activity. You can hear bystanders informing the Denton lawmen that the man they're detaining is also a police officer. Flashes of Garcia's badge appear during the takedown.
Back up. Hey, he's got a gun, and he's picking fights and drunk. You can't be out here drunk.
A sluggish Garcia appears confused and barely conscious. The footage shows Denton police seizing the Midland officer's gun, which an investigation later revealed was loaded with 13 rounds. Garcia was arrested for public intoxication.
Hey, bro, pick him up.
Me as a chief, I won't put up with it.
Midland Police Chief Price Robinson sat down exclusively with me to talk about officers landing on the wrong side of the law.
Obviously, as y'all know, I've received that call, several times, and of course, it's disappointing.
Garcia resigned after the September incident in Denton. He was one of 3 Midland cops arrested last year.
All 3 of them were off duty.
Your public information staff sent out press releases notifying the public media about 2 of them. One gentleman, Nathan Garcia, his arrest was never made public by your department until we uncovered it. Why was no one notified about Garcia's incident?
All in all, it took about 2 weeks to get everything we needed. And we just dropped the ball and didn't send one out. That's the bottom line of it.
Would you call it a mistake?
Yeah, there was nothing malicious about it because you said yourself, y'all found out about it, you did open records, and this one just took longer. Things happened. It just fell through the cracks.
Would you say you learned anything from it?
Yeah, we just have to be more careful and make sure that, we send that out and notify the public because I think they have, a right to know.
We wondered what Nathan Garcia himself would want us to know. So we paid him a visit.
I don't think he's... Hey, we were just looking for Nathan.
Why does he have it on?
We're with Local 2 News, and we were just wanting to get his side of a story. Just seeing if he was here.
He
isn't here. Okay.
Nathan was nowhere to be found on this trip, but he did answer the door another time and told us he had no comment.
We're here to serve the community. We're supported by the city. We hold the police, to a higher standard.
Would you say second chances are hard to come by?
In some instances, yeah. There are just some things that happen that are deal breakers.
Now, Garcia has a court date in April for that misdemeanor public intoxication charge. Court officials in Denton tell me he's going to try to get that charge dropped. We'll continue to follow the story. Live in the studio tonight, Tyler Thomason, Local 2 News.
He's got a gun, and he's picking fights, and he's drunk.
A Midland cop in handcuffs.
His arrest was never made public by your department.
Yeah, there was nothing malicious about it. It just fell through the cracks.
That is something that the public needs to know about because he works for the public.
He's very intoxicated.
Caught on camera.
You can't have a gun in a bar.
Did you say you learned anything from it?
A Midland cop responds to a domestic violence call and targets the victim for a date.
And find out what he said to her and why his resignation did not come until after we asked questions about it.
Thursday night only on Local 2.